I work for a journal that is very interested in publishing work that can be used to inform patients and providers' decisions. So I work for a journal that's had that goal for over a decade. We'd be very interested in publishing work that is along the lines of PCORI's missions. I am an editor, and I think I've seen over 1,000 observational studies just this past year. And out of those 1,000 observational studies, we at Annals published about 5%. Um, so I come from a skeptic's background and from someone who is thinking of threats to validity and threats to PCORI's success. So I'm going to try to address the second question I think that Michael posed for us. And what are some things that I see as potential threats to PCORI's success? One, I worry about setting overly high expectations or overly broad expectations for many different stakeholders. Related to that, I worry that PCORI might fund research that addresses nebulous questions with multiple different types of outcomes that really don't provide good information that can be used for patient decision making. What can we do to avoid those threats? I think the thing that can be done to avoid those threats is to spend a significant amount of time in identifying and prioritizing the research questions that PCORI wants to have addressed and wants to fund. And I think as that significant amount of time is spent doing that, that there needs to be a fair amount of crosstalk among different types of experts, whether they be clinical experts, whether they be patient experts, and whether they be methodological experts. So I encourage more and more crosstalk, more time spent on identifying the questions that are important to answer. A second thing that I think would be a threat is funding research that does not match the question and that does not match the data collection or data available or design or the analysis strategy. So I think that a fair amount of time needs to be spent looking at whether or not data is available, or if not available, is easily collectible, that measures the things that we want to have measured. I don't think we should just be amassing information for information's sake without paying any attention to things like misclassification or misdiagnosis or large amounts of missing data likely to be happening or occurring in a data set. A third thing that I noticed over the last day and a half is that it seems that we had an almost exclusive focus on therapy, benefits and harms of therapy. And I think there is a lot of medical care that focuses on other things than therapy, whether that be diagnosis or prognosis or evaluation strategies that begin a management strategy. So I would like to see PCORI spend some time and some money on funding work other than just therapy. A couple of things that I would have liked to have heard more about and that I think are particular problems with observational research are transparent reporting and selective reporting. So I do encourage that any observational studies that are funded through PCORI should have clear questions from the get-go and should from the get-go clearly identify the outcomes of interest. So those of us who come along afterwards and are reading the work can help ensure that selective reporting does not occur.
Actually, let me just ask one follow-up question immediately on that count, Cindy, if we could. With respect to transparency and observational data, the juxtaposition or the contrast was noted with RCT information we have as a result of clinicaltrials.gov. Do you have any suggestions about how we can better capture the array of observational data that are or studies that are underway that can help us begin that transparency process?
Well, I think some people have talked about setting up a registry. I personally would not be spending bukus of money on setting up a registry of observational studies. I think at this point that it behooves groups that are funding observational research to make clear that they have well-designed, well-thought-out protocols that are available to all and that can be used throughout the process of that research.